Hello, my friends. Today I just want to speak on something quickly, and it's my thoughts of something that I've been searching for quite a long time, but never really fully understood it until I see how the world is handling the coronavirus. And from that, you can see exactly what it's going to be, and you can see why. So, for instance, the world is panicking over this virus because it has no eternal security. It wants to live, and it realizes that this is something that could kill it. So it's going to be fighting for a way that it can make itself feel better about it. So, for instance, they're telling you, cancel all your shows, stay home, don't do nothing, don't shake people's hands, wear a mask, this and that, this and that. And all of these things are to give people a false sense of security that if I just don't shake someone's hand, I'm not going to get it. It's all about providing a false sense of security. Same thing as to why you have all of these gun laws in America. Why do we have all these different laws and regulations on something that the Second Amendment gives us the right to have? Why can't we have it anymore? Because it gives people a false sense of security. So, for instance, if I tell you that you're not allowed to have any of these particular type of guns, well then, guess what? That means I can feel secure that I'm not going to get killed by one of those guns. But we all know that this isn't truly how the world operates. There is no such thing as a sense of security in the world because there is none. There's nothing in this world, no actions that you will do in this world that are going to make you wake up tomorrow morning or not. And that's why a godless generation looks at things like this generation does and then tries to feel secure and safe over its own actions. So we look at talking about the beast from the earth, we're talking about the 666 mark, and we're talking about the image of the wounded beast and yet lived, and it forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, and free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads. I am now completely confident whenever I tell you that whatever this mark is, it will be a sense of security, is how it's sold. So, for instance, they'll tell you go and get an inoculation to a virus. And if you just get that inoculation, you won't get the virus. Okay, so you have a sense of security that they can sell you. Well, this is good then. I don't want this virus, so I'm going to go get inoculated. But then there's something else that comes with it, like all of your information, all of your banking accounts, all of these other things. This mark is going to tie in all of it, and it's going to be sold as a sense of security. As if you get this, you will live. But if you don't get this, then you're out there by yourself. Good luck with you. So in other words, it's going to be some kind of mark that provides these services at the cost of taking away freedom, personal freedom. For instance, I cannot go and buy a particular type of guns, whether I wanted to or not, because they have made laws and wrote laws telling me that I can't for the safety of the people of the world. Someone like me who is safe with guns cannot own a safe gun, even though I wouldn't do anything like that with a gun. But they sold the sense of security, saying if we just get rid of these evil, bad guns, just like they've been doing with AR-15s, for instance, if we just get rid of these evil, bad guns, then no one's going to get killed anymore by gun violence. Whenever the vast majority of murders with gun violence happen with pistols, firearms. But it doesn't matter what the actual truth is because it's all a lie. And the lie is sold as a sense of security. This mark of the beast, I can absolutely tell from this coronavirus that's spreading through the world, it's going to be something that the governments are all going to say, everybody must get this in order to be safe. They're going to sell it safety. And if they were selling it right now, saying that, hey, we're going to give you this mark, if you just get it, you're not going to catch the coronavirus. I guarantee people would be lining up for days, for months, for weeks, for years. People would be in lines trying to get that mark just so they could feel safe that they're not going to get a virus like this. Because they have no faith, they have no belief and understanding of God. They're buying what the world is selling, that if you just come with us, we can make you feel safe. Rather than buying what God sells, which is believe that you are safe because you have my son, Jesus Christ. two different ways of security. I have eternal security in Christ. I know this. He's never gotten rid of me no matter what evil I've done. He's still maintained his patience with me. I have eternal security in Christ. I don't need to go buy it somewhere else in the world, because the world can't sell you any kind of security and have it actually mean peace and safety. No matter what the world does. You can have somebody that stays at home now while this coronavirus is passing over everybody else. They don't go out and do nothing. They close and they lock up their doors and they put bars over their windows. They don't go out to eat. They don't do nothing. And then that person could open up a piece of mail that same day and receive it on the mail. There's no sense of security. A meteor could come crashing down through their house, land right in the middle of the room, and blow coronavirus pieces everywhere. No matter what you do, the world cannot sell you peace and security, because there is none. There is no eternal security in the world. It can't sell it. But there sure is a lot of people who will buy it. And you can see by how everyone is reacting to this virus, that is exactly what is coming. And how do you know? It's in Revelation chapter 13. Well, we've already seen Revelation 12 begin to play out, and we're seeing it play out more and more as the year passes, the next year passes. So of course this is coming on down the line, and everything is setting up for this. The coronavirus, right now, the governments have the whole world panicked over it. We're stopping shows, we're shutting down cities, we're not going to meet for the church. What's the next thing that comes from that once they see that they have that power? Well, they're going to go take more of it the next time something else comes. Just like they went and took more guns away from people, despite they have a Second Amendment right. And within America, for the first time in the history of America, Americans as a majority would rather live in bondage and be promised that they're going to live if they just give up some security. So in other words, if you just give up information about you, about like where you live and what you do with your daily life, if you just give us that, we'll keep you safe and protect you. The world and the citizens in America, if you just give me health care, just give me health care, I'll feel safe then. I feel protected. I'm not going to die as long as I have health care. What they don't mention is that you still then have to go to the doctors, and the doctors still have to do surgeries and operations and give you medicines and all these other things, and it still doesn't mean you're going to live. If you have health care, it doesn't mean any difference of whether you're going to live or die, because you can still go into any hospital in the country in an emergency room without any insurance and receive care. None of these things matter about living and dying, but what it is a sense of security, and this is what they're going to sell. And my goodness, these people in this world would jump all over a sense of security, a false sense of security, that if they just give up some freedoms of their own, well, who cares about those freedoms anyway, right? Everybody knows what we're doing anyway. We're post all over Facebook. We've already given up all of these freedoms long ago. All of these things were preparing for this moment, my friends. Take a look at it and observe. All the freedoms that we've been giving up for the past 30 years are preparing for this moment that we give up all freedoms just to be safe, because the beast out of the earth, the governments, the media, they're going to protect us if we just get the mark. We're going to be saved by it. That's what is going to be sold. It's all preparing for this. And for the first time in the history of America, the majority would rather live in bondage than live free. We talk about people now, they're not even going out to eat anymore because they're afraid they're going to catch the coronavirus. Does not going out to eat, does that mean that you're not going to catch it? Of course not. You can still catch it anywhere, anytime, any place. You're never going to be able to protect yourself from it. But they're selling this as though if you just do these things, you're going to be protected. Well, what has the church been selling for 2,000 years? Well, if you just take communion, then you're going to receive the blessing of God. If you just don't eat meat on Fridays, you're going to receive the blessing of God. If you just give 1/10 of your money to the church, then you're going to get that blessing from God. The world now is buying and selling the same thing that the church has bought and sold for 2,000 years, but the church could never get into the world like that because not even the world was dumb enough to watch the church and see what they were doing and think that that was right. Not even the world was dumb enough to do the dumb things that the church was doing. But now all of a sudden you have religion mixed with philosophy, mixed with progressivism, mixed with government, and all of a sudden it all connects into being one thing, just like God already tells you in the book of Revelations it's going to be, just like Daniel already told you the end would be. A one world type of government where all of the peoples are united by the same languages, the same ideals, and the same sense of security. Americans prior to now, especially America, because that's the last frontier on the earth that was free. As we've given up those freedoms, we believe we're going to be more healthier, live longer, live better. Just if we give up these freedoms, we've been doing it now for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. Since World War II ended, we've been doing that. And look at what it's caused. Are we any safer in America in the year 2020 than we were in 1950? The answer is ecstatically no, we're less safe in 2020 than we were in 1950. Nobody would even debate that. You didn't even have to lock your doors in 1950. You didn't have to do anything like that. But yet we see the results and we still don't believe it because the world has done such a good job selling us the lie that we accept that we give up some of our freedoms, we'll buy this lie, and we'll be saved. My friends, it's all playing out exactly like Revelations has shown us. We see now what is happening by this virus, that's coming, because they already got people hooked that if they can sell this sense of security, people would buy it. Because the world now has given up their sense of freedom, which living free is living in Christ, living in God. They've given that away for a sense of security that they cannot have by the world because there is no eternal security in the world. But they're willing to give up God in order to get that sense of security of the world. And they're going to sell God away. They're going to sell that faith away just like the church has been selling and buying the faith of God for the last 2,000 years. Now the world becomes the church. The church and the world, one and the same thing. And it's all setting up to play exactly like this. Examine the world, examine all of the things you see happening right now in the news media and by the governments and by the religions, and you will see that they're all doing exactly the same things. And this indeed is Christ cutting off branches. He's purifying his own body before he comes. Whatever comes from this mark of the beast, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to sell you security, and people are going to jump all over it as though it is going to be true security, at the expense of freedoms. God bless.